Under the scorching glare of reality television, every whisper transforms into breaking news. Every glance becomes fodder for scandal. Tonight, the stage is set, tension so thick it could be sliced with a knife. Fans are watching, waiting. Behind the cameras, the cast prepares for what promises to be an unforgettable confrontation. The air crackles with anticipation, like a storm about to erupt. Kirk Frost, notorious for his fiery temperament, is already pacing backstage, eyes blazing, lips pressed into a thin, dangerous line. His presence alone commands attention. The crew senses it. Something monumental is about to unfold. Rumors have been circulating, whispers of betrayal, secrets, and hidden conflicts. Everyone feels the pulse of impending chaos, the electricity of drama waiting to ignite. Yandy enters, unaware of the full magnitude of what's coming. Calm, composed, yet carrying the quiet weight of her own past struggles, she navigates the tense corridor. Every step, every breath is scrutinized. Cameras are poised, crew members frozen mid-motion. The whispers grow louder, speculation intensifies. Who will speak first? Who will crack under pressure? The room holds its collective breath, knowing that the opening clash could redefine reputations, alliances, and the entire season itself. As the lights flicker overhead, the atmosphere tightens. This is no ordinary reunion or scripted exchange. The stakes are immense. Personal history, professional pride, and raw emotion collide in one explosive moment. Tonight, words will wound, glances will accuse, and the audience will witness the very beginning of a storm that promises to shake the foundations of love and hip-hop. Every heartbeat, every glance, every whisper carries the weight of what is about to unravel, setting the stage for drama that will be dissected for weeks. The tension backstage ignites immediately as Kirk Frost storms into the room, a furious whirlwind of emotions. Every step reverberates with authority and anger, the air charged with anticipation. Crew members instinctively step back, sensing the storm about to unfold. His eyes blaze with indignation, each glare slicing through the murmurs. This is no ordinary confrontation. This is the eruption of years of pent-up frustration, resentment and suspicion finally unleashed. Kirk's voice cuts sharply through the chaos, each word punctuated with raw intensity. "I've tolerated enough lies," he shouts, fists tightening. The room shivers under the weight of his fury. Every accusation he throws lands like a hammer against fragile egos. Whispers of betrayal circulate, amplified by the force of his outrage. The room feels like it could explode, secrets hanging in the air like detonators ready to ignite. He targets specific individuals with precision, dismantling hidden narratives and exposing supposed allies. "Stop pretending," Kirk roars, voice cracking with both anger and desperation. His statements slice through pretense, stripping away facades with unrelenting force. Every accusation uncovers long-buried resentments, unresolved conflicts, and simmering jealousy. Shocked expressions ripple through the crew. Even the most composed cast members falter under the intensity, caught in a vortex of volatile emotion. The intensity escalates as Kirk meticulously unveils secrets, each revelation sharper than the last. His tone alternates between measured venom and explosive confrontation. Words hit with relentless impact, exposing fractures in relationships and shaking the foundation of trust. Every revelation is a seismic tremor, leaving no corner of the backstage untouched. Silence no longer exists. It is replaced by stunned disbelief as the truth crashes in like an unstoppable wave. Kirk's fury is kinetic, his energy consuming the space entirely. Pacing, gesturing, shouting, every motion amplifies the drama. The audience of cast and crew watches, frozen, fully aware that the fallout will be catastrophic. The eruption is both spectacle and reckoning, a storm signaling irreversible change. The weight of his accusations leaves the air taut, pregnant with consequence. Every word promises repercussions that will reverberate far beyond this moment. When he finally exhales, the room remains charged with tension, eyes wide, hearts racing. Cast members exchange anxious glances, unsure how to respond. Kirk's eruption is complete, but the aftershocks have only begun. Secrets exposed, loyalties tested, reputations challenged. This confrontation will dominate the narrative, reshaping alliances and leaving viewers riveted. The chaos backstage is a powder keg, waiting to ignite further drama. Yandy's eyes widen as the accusations hit like lightning, her body frozen for a fraction of a second, disbelief rippling across her face. The room seems to shrink around her, every whisper, every stare magnified. She had anticipated tension, but the intensity of Kirk's eruption shatters her expectations. Shock mingles with indignation, and her mind races for a response sharp enough to counter the storm unleashed upon her. Her voice erupts, fierce and unrelenting, cutting through the thick tension like a blade. "That's completely false," she declares, each word dripping with controlled fury. The crew and cast feel the impact of her rebuttal, the energy in the room crackling with confrontation. Yandy refuses to be a passive target. Every syllable she utters defends her honor, reshapes the narrative, and challenges the accusations with undeniable force. Yandy's rebuttal is methodical yet fiery, a strategic blend of emotion and precision. She exposes inconsistencies, pointing out hidden agendas and underlying motives. "You're twisting the story," she shouts, gesturing sharply, her tone oscillating between measured authority and explosive outrage. Every retort dissects lies, stripping away layers of deception. Shocked expressions flicker across faces in the room. The intensity of her words leaves no room for doubt, no corner untouched by her defense. The confrontation escalates as Yandy unleashes personal truths, her energy kinetic, reverberating through the backstage chaos. Each statement lands with force, reverberating like thunder across the tension-filled room. Allies shift uncomfortably, aware that the narrative is being rewritten in real time. Her rebuttal is not merely defensive, it is an offensive strike against betrayal and manipulation, demanding acknowledgement and respect, refusing silence in the face of accusation. She punctuates her fiery arguments with sharp, rapid-fire sentences, interspersed with longer, flowing declarations of resilience. The rhythm keeps the audience on edge, every word a pulse of intensity. Yandy's composure is remarkable, even as her fury simmers, commanding attention and respect. The room, charged with electric tension, becomes a battleground of words and emotions, each reaction magnified under the scrutiny of her forceful rebuttal. By the end of her tirade, Yandy stands resolute, breath steady, eyes blazing with defiance. The crew absorbs the impact, understanding the shift in power and perspective. Alliances tremble, secrets teeter on the edge, and the narrative pivots dramatically. Yandy's response ensures that her voice dominates the space, rewriting perception and setting the stage for the next dramatic chapter of this volatile confrontation. Rasheeda takes a hesitant breath, the weight of silence pressing heavily on her chest. For weeks, rumors swirled, whispers of betrayal and secrets. But now, the truth cannot remain hidden. Her voice trembles at first, fragile yet resolute, as she begins to unearth the emotions buried deep within. The room is silent, all eyes fixed, waiting for her confession to shatter the tension. "I can't stay quiet any longer," Rasheeda admits, her tone raw with sincerity, every word laced with vulnerability. The air vibrates with anticipation as she discloses thoughts long suppressed, feelings that clawed at her conscience. Her eyes glisten, reflecting the intensity of the moment, while each revelation slices through the fog of uncertainty surrounding the conflict. Her confession grows bolder, more unflinching, as she details the emotional turmoil that has haunted her. "I never intended for it to escalate," she continues, each syllable weighted with honesty and regret. The audience senses her struggle, the conflict within her as she wrestles with guilt and accountability. Her words carry both remorse and courage, creating a magnetic tension that captivates all present. Rasheeda's narrative is punctuated by sudden bursts of emotion, short, explosive statements that contrast with her longer, reflective explanations. The rhythm mirrors her inner storm, alternating between restraint and outburst. She articulates the subtle betrayals, the misunderstandings, the moments that shifted the equilibrium of relationships, leaving no detail overlooked, every nuance exposed for the world to hear. As she continues, Rasheeda confronts her own mistakes with stark honesty, refusing to veil her vulnerability. "I misjudged, I faltered," she confesses, her voice steadying with determination. The room absorbs the impact of her words, the emotional gravity palpable. Allies and adversaries alike feel the shift in atmosphere, understanding that the narrative is evolving in real time under her candid revelation. The confession crescendos, blending remorse, defiance, and clarity. Rasheeda's emotions are unrestrained yet controlled, creating a dramatic tension that is impossible to ignore. Her voice, a mixture of fragility and strength, echoes through the charged room, leaving a lasting impression. By the end, silence descends once more, but now it carries respect, empathy, and the undeniable power of truth. The moment Rasheeda's words hang in the air, the energy in the room shifts instantly. Crew members exchange nervous glances, whispers ricocheting off the walls, while some grip equipment as though bracing for impact. The audience leans forward, eyes wide, mouths slightly agape, caught between disbelief and fascination. The tension thickens, almost suffocating, as every soul present feels the mounting intensity of the revelation. A few crew members mutter under their breath, their expressions a mix of shock and confusion. Cameras hesitate, operators frozen, uncertain whether to continue filming or absorb the gravity of the unfolding drama. The crowd reacts in bursts, gasps, murmurs, and stifled cries, a symphony of emotional turbulence. Each reaction amplifies the moment, feeding the drama, making the atmosphere electric and unpredictable. Some spectators clutch each other, their own shock mirrored in the expressions surrounding them. Phones appear, recording the moment, but the energy is too raw, too volatile to be captured fully on any screen. The room seems to pulse with anticipation, a collective heartbeat syncing with the rising tension. Every whisper, every sideways glance contributes to the mounting suspense, each second stretching like elastic. A sharp exclamation pierces the murmurs as one crew member blurts an incredulous remark, inadvertently heightening the drama. Eyes dart across the room, scanning for reactions, analyzing micro-expressions, calculating the next eruption. The crowd hangs on every word, every inflection, sensing that another revelation may be imminent. The tension is tangible, almost a physical weight pressing down, impossible to ignore. The air vibrates with unresolved conflict, anticipation, and a primal curiosity. People lean closer, some holding their breath, bracing for the next emotional spike. The mix of fear, empathy, and excitement creates a cocktail of psychological intensity, each reaction feeding off the other. This is more than spectacle. It's a live collision of emotions, raw and unfiltered, impossible to predict or contain. By the time the murmurs settle, the room remains charged, heavy with suspense. Every individual feels the gravity of the exposure, the repercussions hanging palpably in the air. Eyes flicker, subtle nods acknowledge shared understanding, and the crowd's collective energy solidifies. The scene is set, the stage electric, and the story continues to unravel, unstoppable and mesmerizing in its dramatic momentum. As dawn breaks, the city awakens to an electric buzz, fueled by the previous night's explosive revelations. Social media erupts almost instantly, hashtags trending, notifications piling up, and comments flooding every platform. Every clip, every snippet from the confrontation spreads like wildfire, igniting endless speculation. People dissect each frame, analyzing gestures, tone, and expression, hungry for every morsel of scandal. Online forums swell with debate. Opinions clash, some defending, others condemning, yet all driven by an insatiable curiosity. Screens glow with faces reacting in real time, emojis punctuating astonishment, disbelief, and fury. News outlets scramble to cover the frenzy, headlines bold and urgent, designed to seize attention and hold it captive. Every post feeds the growing vortex of obsession. Text messages, tweets, and stories multiply uncontrollably. Conversations spill from private chats into public feeds, blurring lines between personal reaction and public spectacle. Even those who slept through the chaos awaken to fragments of the drama, replaying clips, pausing, rewinding, obsessing. Every detail, no matter how minute, becomes fodder for endless discussion, keeping the story alive and contagious. Memes emerge almost immediately, humorous yet biting, amplifying the scandal while reflecting societal fascination with betrayal and confrontation. Influencers capitalize on the chaos, sharing reactions, dissecting statements, and predicting outcomes, creating a digital echo chamber. Each new interpretation fans the flames, making the narrative impossible to escape, as if the city itself pulses with the intensity of collective intrigue. Meanwhile, gossip in real life mirrors the online surge. Water cooler conversations, coffee shop whispers, and hallway chatter echo the same incredulity seen on screens. Colleagues speculate, neighbors whisper, and strangers exchange hurried theories. The line between virtual and physical reality blurs, as everyone becomes part of the sprawling narrative, unable to resist engaging in the spectacle. By mid-morning, the frenzy shows no sign of slowing. Notifications continue relentlessly, every phone vibrating with new updates, comments, and posts. The collective obsession grows more intense with every scroll, like a digital tidal wave crashing through feeds and minds alike. What started as a backstage confrontation now dominates both screens and streets, an unstoppable storm of gossip and online mania. The morning light finds Yandy moving swiftly through the studio corridors, every step calculated. She's aware of the storm still raging outside, both online and off. Cast members exchange glances, whispers filling the air, as she approaches each one, offering measured words, reassurances, and urgent attempts to calm tensions. Her voice is firm, controlled, yet betrays the slightest edge of desperation. Producers await in a glass-paneled office, their expressions unreadable. Yandy enters, immediately launching into explanations, framing the chaos strategically. Each word is chosen with precision, balancing accountability with justification. She emphasizes professionalism, promising that the incident will not define the show or its participants. Every sentence is aimed at maintaining confidence, protecting both her reputation and the collective morale of the team. As she moves through the cast, Yandy addresses concerns with careful attention, nodding, acknowledging feelings, and offering clarifications. She strategically reinforces loyalty, subtly reminding everyone of shared goals and previous successes. Short sentences punctuate longer, flowing explanations, giving rhythm to her urgent tone. The atmosphere is tense, yet her words work like a controlled release valve, diffusing some of the accumulated pressure. Meanwhile, the production team listens intently, making mental notes of every nuance. Yandy's tone shifts slightly, blending assertiveness with charm. She reassures them that the narrative can be reframed, that the damage is containable if handled correctly. Every gesture, every pause is intentional. Her presence dominates the room, a mixture of authority, strategy, and barely concealed urgency. Outside the office, gossip among crew members simmers, fueled by fragments of overheard conversations. Yandy counters this quietly but assertively, leaning into transparency where necessary, yet guarding critical details. She navigates the delicate balance between control and honesty, seeking to restore order without inviting further scrutiny. Every interaction is deliberate, each word crafted to manage perception. By midday, a subtle shift becomes apparent. Nervous energy remains, but apprehension gives way to cautious confidence. Yandy's measured interventions begin to influence cast and crew alike, her narrative taking root. Yet beneath the surface, the tension simmers, a reminder that damage control is never absolute, and the shadows of the confrontation linger, ready to flare again at any misstep. The hallway feels suffocating as Rasheeda finally corners Kirk in a quiet, dimly lit room. Her gaze is piercing, voice steady yet charged with raw emotion. Every word is deliberate, a mix of accusation and plea, demanding answers while grappling with her own shock. Kirk stands frozen, the weight of the confrontation pressing heavily on him. Rasheeda wastes no time. She recounts events with precision, highlighting moments that others overlooked. Her tone oscillates between controlled fury and vulnerable despair. Short, sharp sentences punctuate longer, flowing explanations, creating a rhythm that mirrors the tension in the room. She refuses to allow evasion or excuses, each point landing with undeniable force. Kirk attempts responses, but Rasheeda cuts through them, her intensity unwavering. She articulates the emotional toll, exposing cracks in trust and loyalty. Every phrase underscores the seriousness of the breach, emphasizing consequences not just for them, but for their broader family circle. The confrontation is as personal as it is strategic, a private reckoning with public ramifications. As the dialogue continues, Rasheeda's words stir a complicated mix of guilt, defensiveness, and reflection in Kirk. She presses on, ensuring no detail is overlooked, framing each accusation with clarity and undeniable evidence. The air is thick with tension. Every pause stretches painfully, every rebuttal weighed carefully. Her voice carries the weight of both confrontation and emotional demand. Finally, Rasheeda shifts focus to the fallout. She outlines the ripple effect, the strain on family relationships, the potential public spectacle, and the emotional fractures that could deepen if the issues remain unresolved. Kirk listens, trapped between remorse and denial, fully aware of the storm Rasheeda is navigating on both private and public fronts. By the end of the confrontation, silence dominates. Rasheeda steps back, leaving Kirk with the gravity of his actions, the responsibility now entirely on him. The room still vibrates with the echoes of her words, a mixture of confrontation, consequence, and emotional truth. This moment will linger, shaping every subsequent choice. Social media erupts overnight. Memes circulate wildly, each one sharper, funnier, and more biting than the last. Allies scramble to defend reputations, issuing statements with urgency and carefully chosen words. Rivals seize the chaos, amplifying every misstep, every misstatement, turning private conflict into a public spectacle. The online world becomes a battlefield, opinions clashing with relentless intensity. Fans react with a mix of shock, amusement, and outrage. Short, punchy comments explode across timelines, while longer posts dissect every nuance. Every gesture, every expression from the incident is scrutinized. Clips are replayed, screenshots shared, and hashtags trend globally. The frenzy is relentless. No one is spared from the digital microscope, and each reaction fuels the next. Amid the uproar, alliances are tested. Supporters rally behind favored figures, defending loyalty with fervor. Critics, however, grow bolder, exploiting emotional vulnerability to sway the undecided. Each new post, each viral image, escalates the tension further. The narrative is no longer controlled by the original players, but by an endless tide of spectators. Celebrities and commentators join the fray, offering commentary that blends analysis with sensationalism. News outlets pick up the story, broadcasting highlights and controversies with dramatic flair. Every media outlet competes to deliver the most shocking angle, fueling gossip while blurring lines between fact and interpretation. Public opinion shifts like a storm, unpredictable and violent. As the backlash intensifies, reputations hang in the balance. Social media becomes both a weapon and a stage, where influence is measured by reach, engagement, and virality. No comment goes unnoticed, no reaction ignored. The fallout is immediate, personal, and far-reaching. Each meme, every statement, continues to shape perceptions and dictate alliances. By the end of the cycle, the incident is cemented in online history. Conversations rage, narratives compete, and consequences ripple outward, reaching beyond the screen. What began as a private altercation now defines public discourse, leaving players and spectators alike navigating a landscape where attention is both currency and punishment. Producers huddle urgently in a private room, their faces tense, voices low but charged with intensity. Strategies are debated fiercely, each option weighed against potential fallout. Every decision carries consequences, both on-screen and behind the scenes. The stakes are monumental, and no move is without risk. Tension crackles through the air, palpable and unrelenting. Rasheeda listens silently, her mind racing. The weight of the controversy presses heavily on her, and the idea of walking away from the show becomes increasingly tempting. Each option is scrutinized. Stay and fight or exit gracefully to protect her reputation. Her emotions are a storm, fear, frustration, and defiance intertwining in a volatile mix that demands attention. Producers outline multiple scenarios, from damage control to public statements designed to shift narratives. Every camera angle, every interview snippet is considered. They strategize how to contain the backlash while preserving ratings. Plans are drafted and discarded with lightning speed. The room is alive with calculated energy, each individual determined to protect both the show and themselves. Rasheeda ponders, her choices weighing loyalty against self-preservation. Public opinion swirls relentlessly, unpredictable and unforgiving. Each day she remains, scrutiny intensifies, magnifying every move and misstep. She evaluates whether her presence fuels drama or if stepping away could transform the narrative in her favor. The pressure is suffocating, yet clarity begins to emerge. Discussions shift to contingency plans, carefully balancing ethical concerns with practical realities. The producer's focus is unwavering. Maintain the show's momentum, mitigate reputational damage, and anticipate audience reactions. Rasheeda's potential exit is no longer hypothetical, but a pivotal element in the strategy. Every word and gesture is meticulously calculated, designed to influence perception and outcome. By the end of the meeting, a tentative plan is in place. Rasheeda's decision looms large, the ramifications vast and unpredictable. Behind closed doors, alliances form, compromises are considered, and the path forward is mapped with precision. The tension is far from resolved, but the stage is set for a dramatic and decisive next chapter. The studio is electric, the tension palpable as cameras sweep across the set. Every glance, every movement feels magnified, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. Tonight isn't ordinary. It's a confrontation destined to make headlines. The audience senses the storm, hearts racing, questions hanging thick in the air. Who will reveal the truth? Who will crumble under the glare? Short, sharp exclamations pierce the silence. "We need answers!" Echoes, voices rising, faltering, quivering with emotion. This is more than drama. It's raw, unfiltered reality. Sweat beads on foreheads, eyes dart anxiously. Every word carries weight, every pause screams suspense. The tension is so thick, it could be sliced. The host leans forward, voice steady but piercing. "We demand proof," they declare. Murmurs ripple through the audience, a mixture of shock and curiosity. The camera tightens, zooming in on faces etched with disbelief. Emotions surge, from anxiety to outrage, disbelief to anticipation. Someone shifts, breaking the fragile calm. A tablet is raised. Screens flicker to life. Images, texts, and recordings flash rapidly, eliciting gasps, murmurs, and whispered comments. It's chaotic, yet riveting, impossible to ignore. Accusations fly, defenses form like barricades. Words collide with brutal honesty, piercing facades. The host pushes forward relentlessly. "We need clarity." The intensity crescendos. Cameras catch every micro-expression, every subtle twitch. Sweat glistens, eyes widen, jaws tighten. Silence follows each explosive claim, pregnant with consequence. Questions pierce the air like daggers. Is this real? Can this be verified? The panel falters, trying to maintain composure, but strain is visible. Tension crackles like electricity, sparks flying between every exchanged glance. Statements are measured yet devastating. The gravity of the moment sinks in. No one can ignore the magnitude. Viewers at home grip their screens, unable to look away. The confrontation isn't just about words, it's about exposing hidden truths. The pace quickens, voices overlap, emotions collide, making the scene almost unbearable in intensity. Each revelation compounds the last, spiraling into a crescendo of suspense and drama. Every heartbeat, every whisper, every reaction adds fuel to the storm. By the time the cameras stop rolling, the echoes of this explosive sit-down will resonate long after, leaving no one untouched. The chaos subsides, but the tension lingers like a shadow over the studio. Cameras pan slowly, capturing the exhaustion, the relief, and the unspoken questions etched on every face. Some smile, some frown, some remain frozen in disbelief. Tonight was transformative. Every truth revealed, every accusation laid bare, leaves viewers reeling, hearts pounding. The aftermath is electric. Whispers ripple through the crew and cast, speculation running rampant. Social media erupts as clips circulate, hashtags trend, opinions clash. Each new comment, every viral clip, fans the flames. Alliances are questioned, loyalties tested. Even as the dust settles, the impact remains potent, leaving no one untouched. The aftermath is messy, chaotic, and riveting. Resilience surfaces amidst the turbulence. Some step forward, determined to reclaim control, to steer the narrative back on their terms. Faces previously marred by shock now harden with resolve. Every glance, every gesture signals readiness to confront challenges. Despite emotional wounds, the cast and crew demonstrate strength, endurance, and determination, refusing to be defined solely by controversy. Meanwhile, cliffhangers loom like dark clouds over the horizon. Unanswered questions persist, revelations remain partial, secrets still tantalize the imagination. Viewers are left on edge, craving resolution, eager for the next explosive installment. Tension lingers like a slow-burning fuse, ensuring attention remains fixed on every movement, every whisper, every cryptic statement that could hint at what comes next. Finally, the call to action cuts through the suspense. Audiences are directly engaged, comment, debate, speculate. Viewers are implored to share their thoughts, to vote, to participate in the unfolding drama. The narrative is not complete without them. The story thrives on interaction, fueled by curiosity, outrage, and anticipation. Everyone becomes a part of the saga. The evening concludes with lingering uncertainty, tension thick like smoke. Yet amid the drama, resilience shines through. Challenges are met, alliances shift, and every revelation carries weight. This is not the end. The narrative pulses forward, promising more shockwaves, more intrigue, and more moments that will leave hearts racing and jaws dropping.